We're upside down. Yeah. Okay. Now talk up louder.
Okay.
It's not that funny, okay?
On a new property, the trees had already been cut, and they were cut about 4 or 5 foot from the ground. So there was lots of stumps, and some of them were not too big around. But all these trees had been felled and sold for wood, but they didn't care about cleaning up the place. So for 5 years, we had a little Ford tractor, and we had dug these stumps out and pulled them out and put them back over the hill and let them just rot away. And finally we had a big fire back there. But so we had a well dug, and the tree stumps were out, and so when we got to market where the house would be, there was a hog box with baby hogs in it, and so they marked around on the ground where the corner would be, and when the hogs got big enough to move, then they went ahead and made the regular. Yeah. So we got the house underway, and it took from the first part of October to Easter time, to the Easter break, and we moved with a wagon and a tractor, and going up to town, there would be furniture on the truck, on the trailer, on the wagon, and they would back up to the front door and unload it and put it into specific rooms and go back out and get another load. So we got moved in, and Eva was having some trouble. That was Howard Sr.'s wife, and the doctor she had, I didn't have much faith in him, and every time she went to the restroom to urinate, he had suggested she take another Lasix pills. Well, you're only supposed to take 2 a day, and he was having her take 5 and 6, which was washing out all of the potassium in her system. So the next day, she wouldn't wake up, and Howard Sr. called me, and I went down, and Howard went down with me, and we got her into an ambulance and took her over to where this doctor was, and he had a nursing home over there. Well, I kind of think that's how he got his people into the nursing home, was by flushing the potassium out of them, and then he had people that he could work with. So she was in there for a while, and potassium pills were quite large, and they would put them in a pestle and mortar and grind them up and put them in applesauce and try to feed that back to her that way. And she was getting better, and she would be coming out of the
coma?
Coma. And so Doc had made arrangements at the nursing home in Wilmington for a bed for her. And so the doctor had said, well, we're ready to move her over to my other nursing home. And he said, oh, no, you're not. We're going to come down tomorrow with an ambulance, and we're going to move her to Wilmington, closer to where I am. And I've got a doctor arranged, and I've got the nursing home arranged, and everything is taken care of. And so he wasn't feeling so good about that, because he didn't make to take that one. And how did I learn to quilt? Well, I was about 10 or 11, and Mother wasn't feeling good at times, and she'd say, well, why don't you just walk over to Emily's house, which was about a mile away, and chat with her for a little while, and you can come back and I'll be feeling better. So Emily lived with Emily and her husband Morris, and Morris's brother, and their mother and dad were all in this big farmhouse. And the mother and dad, the mother did most of the cooking anyhow. And so Emily was quite a quilter, and she had started a quilt with 1.5-inch blocks, and she had cut out more than she needed, and so she had showed me how to start one too. And she said, do you think your mother's got enough money to finish with bought material now? Material at that time, gold cloth material was 10 cents a yard. So we did get enough to finish with what we had at home too. And I got, my quilt wasn't full size. It was maybe 60 by 60, something like that. And it turned out to be
like a mattress cover?
A mattress pad. For years it was a mattress pad. I had used 4 white bead sacks on the back of it and had quilted it. But it was my starter quilt.
What are your memories from the Depression? Was that during the Depression that you went over to Emily's house to help with the quilt and so forth?
Yes, because I was about, well, the Depression was just getting over about that time. I'm going to open that door for later. So, during the Depression, we never knew we were poor. Everybody else was in the same boat we were, and you either did with what you had, or you just didn't have it. You did without. And so it was a make do or do without deal. So we did a lot of, you might say, shortcutting in a way, in order to get things finished.
Because you grew up on a farm, and you had farm produce, could you use that to trade with other people? Because money was somewhat scarce?
We usually gave it away.
You usually gave the produce away?
I think that was the start of my givings, because if we had extra stuff, we didn't want to sell it. We just give it to somebody, find out if they needed something, and we had it, and they didn't. And we give it to them that way. So,
do you have a special memory of your dad?
he was very kind and very long. He stuck to the job until it was finished, and I think that was
a lot of tenacity.
Yeah, and that's the way it was. Once heard off now.
Joe, I don't know how to turn it off, honey.
Billions of dollars, or $400 billion. Well, I got to pay us $1 billion. $3.99.